At the northern tip of Te Waipounamu lies a land as diverse as it is beautiful. This abundant whenua, teeming with life, has always drawn people towards it. Rich in minerals and overflowing with natural bounty, life here has always been intricately connected to both the land and the sea. This is Te Tauihu o Te Waka a Māui, where the story of Aotearoa occupation begins.
We are in the northeastern corner of Te Waipounamu at the mouth of the Wairau River. Some people call it the Boulder Bank, the Wairau Bar, the Moor Hunter site. But we always say Te Pukahiwi o Kupe, yeah. Te Pukahiwi o Kupe was one of the first places where ancestors from Hawaii came and settled.
You know, it was virgin, untouched land. The lagoons were teeming with life. It would have been an amazing place to set your eyes on, coming in from out of the Pacific.
This is the final resting place of Auntie and her family. So Auntie is the name that rangatahi give to what the literature will refer to as burial one. Her history is a kind of a sad one. In 1939, she was discovered, dug up, and so she was taken to Wellington, and she stayed there for many, many years. There were a number of people who were dug up and taken away. And so once they were brought back here, they were put back as close as possible to where they were originally taken from, and that's how we end up here. So Auntie's here with her whānau.
I think a compelling part of the story for me is the academics of the time were happy to sell it as a group of people that weren't Māori here before Māori. And what was satisfying is that when we eventually did the DNA testing, the results were pretty clear. The people who lay beneath our feet at the moment were most certainly connected to the people who've always lived here. So there's no argument today that, yeah, these are our people.
It is now almost 800 years since the first tipuna from Hawaii landed on these shores and named it Te Tauihu o Te Waka a Māui, the prow of Māori's waka. Today there are 8 iwi who call the top of the south home, each with their own connections to the land and the resources it holds.
Sikumu is an alpine daisy and it grows above the tree line in the mountains, so it's pretty high up there in the mountains. Sikumu were used to make kākahu for keeping you safe from the elements, especially the elements in the mountains, because the mountains have their own rhythms and energies and they're not always kind to us. You know, so our tupuna identified this resource that was soft, water repellent, and pretty much fire repellent as well. No noko uri, no noko te a ki te rangi e. Ka tore tore te tūrama ki te papa e.
He tikumu, he tira māti e. Mānini tua, mānini aro ki uta e. Huti, huti, rauti te take. Hore, hore, rau mata kia mai. Hai. Kei konei mātou ki te taha o roto pōhueroa. So we are beside Lake Constance or Lake Roto Pōhueroa. So yeah, we're in the head of the Nelson Lakes really. He wāhi tapu tēnei. This was a lake that was used to wash the bones of our tupuna, the kōiwi of our tupuna. So they would wash the bones of wahine in this lake, with the lake down from it being where they washed tāne. I've just got to find a nice shallow crossing spot.
The environment where tikumu grows, the energy is a lot different. I think when you're in the mountains themselves, it's large scale. It's the realm of our atua.
Yeah, this is the tikumu, and these are really big plants. The way we look at it is like a harakeke plant. So yeah, we're never taking from the core. So it's just a plucking method. But anei he rau tikumu. So this is the underside. This is the part that we want. We have two different methods of peeling. My way of doing it is just pinching the top and kind of releasing that underside, trying to keep all that green para. Anei he rau. Yeah, pretty amazing.
Colonisation was very much felt here in Te Tauwehu. My nena, being strapped at school for speaking Māori. I've seen all the report cards, sewing, writing, what they excelled in, what they didn't, trying to become good Pākehā. Even in the way of my own practice as a weaver, learning to weave with non-traditional resources and then not being able to have access to the traditional resources because of laws that were put in place. But we are now at a place, at a time where we are taking our practices back.
What it feels like to be out here is just in the realm of your tupuna. So he tino taonga te tipu tikumu, and to be able to practice what our tupuna were doing, mai rāno, it's pretty amazing.
Whakatū, or Nelson, is the oldest city in Te Waipounamu, as well as the largest settlement in Te Tauihu. Māori have lived in this area since about 1300, and the most fertile land in this rohe is still the soil that these early pioneers enriched with wood ash and sand to improve the kumara plantations they grew here. The Whakatū Incorporation is one of the largest landowners in this region. It represents the descendants of Ngāti Koata, Ngāti Rārua, Te Atiawa and Ngāti Tama. And it is driving a kaupapa to reconnect whānau to this whenua.
Te Tauihu is quite interesting. Across our landscape, we've got a number of iwi, hapu and whānau entities. And so Whakatū is an incorporation that's owned by the Māori landowners of Nelson, Tasman and Mohua. Established in 1977 to consolidate our whenua into one entity. Our role across the rohe is to care for that whenua on behalf of the wider whānau. So we're now coming into really 25 years of investing in whānau capability and reconnection. And that's designed to get our whānau back on the whenua, out on their waterways. At our core is this taonga or this asset that we have to care for. In order to care for it through generations, you have to have an intimate knowledge and understanding of the whenua.
We got them when we first moved here. My kids got attached to them and gave them all names, and then when they got older, we realised we had 2 roosters. But they don't want to kill them because they're pets to them now.
We're kaitiakis of the whenua, so we just pretty much look after the whānau land out here. As I say to everyone, welcome to paradise. As soon as you come over that hill, you can feel it. You see the water and it's like, man, you're home.
This is Wakatu land. So Wakatu is made up by Te Atiawa, Ngāti Tama, Ngāti Koata and Ngāti Rārua. So all of those uri whakapapa into here.
They can just come and camp for free and really enjoy themselves. They just choose a spot and then they can park up for the whole summer. We supply water and toilets. One of my cousins was the old kaitiaki. She obviously knows us quite well, so she just mentioned that this is the perfect job for us. We've got our large māora, and then we're able to go harvest our fish, our pipis, our cockles, mussels, oysters, living off the land, the sea, the rivers, just connecting back to the basics.
Our whānau get to come and just let go of that fast-paced life in town and just be Māori tau here on their whenua, so reconnecting. And that's the thing, you know, reconnecting through kai gathering is definitely something we're really passionate about.
So my wife loves moi moi potatoes, or our whānau do, so.
It's just a potato that I grew up with in Kāwhia. My grandmother only planted moi moi, so like I would like to grow moi moi just to keep that memory.
It's something your dad's grown forever, you know. This is how my grandparents lived on both sides of the family, so it's just sort of been instilled in us. I believe we probably eat better than most people around here because of what we're able to gather.
Stand back, it's going to be dusty.
This is my grandparents' sieve from the tobacco days, so we saved that and be able to use this. And it's just a good way to use up all our potash and bits and pieces.
We pretty much get to continue on practices of our tupuna, and that's probably the best thing about being out here and living on the land, doing the same things they would have done with contemporary materials, obviously, but the essence is still there.
Fish fertiliser.
Oh, voila.
Yeah, to feed our plants.
You know, I always say to our whānau that label kaitiaki is given to us because we are living here, but actually we're all kaitiaki. It's our job to tiaki, look after our whenua, look after our moana, look after our ngāhere, our waterways, and look after us.
Te pokohiwi o Kupe, or the Wairau Bar, is a 47-acre gravel spit at the mouth of the Wairau River. After the devastating excavations of the 1940s and 50s, rangatahi o Wairau fought hard to return the artefacts to their rightful resting place. And they're still here, protecting this land and the taonga it holds.
Part of the story is we have a kaitiaki out here that looks over the bones of our tupuna. If you lift this rock, you might see her in there. It's a little native gecko, and that's what we refer to as the kaitiaki. Often we find if we walk along the beach, we'll find artefacts. Anything that we find out here comes back here and we'll put it under this rock. That there looks like part of an argillite adze that's snapped in half. It's been flaked and hammer-stoned. So we find things like we've got more bone here. The only thing we find we bring back here and we keep it here as a bit of a pātaka, and the ngārara looks over it.
Yeah, so this radar should ring right off of those stones. It should show that stuff, the hearthstones.
Cool. Today we are working with niwa. We're trying to understand the risks that Te Pukehiwi faces. Flooding, sea level rise, all of those things will impact on Te Pukehiwi. So we want the best data set we can have so that when we come to make decisions about this place, we're coming from a solid kind of foundation.
Niwa have a lot of equipment out here and they're basically mapping the area. That'll give us an idea of what was here in the past. We have our pūrākau, we have our whakapapa, we have our archives. But today's research will help us better understand some of the finer details.
Like these are already identified as super high priority. So let's see how it goes in here.
Sweet.
And these are other pits,
Other
dwellings,
things,
and old dwellings, whare, hangi pits. Okay, look at that. Look at all that activity in there.
Yeah. I suppose my personal interest is I'm a historian. Yeah, history's kind of my thing. And being involved, I kind of see as being part of our history unfolding.
I have two passions that complement one another really well. Te ao Māori, in particular the history of my people here in this area, and filmmaking and telling stories via the lens. So they go together really well. Pete, this is home for us. Are you able to give me a little bit of information about what makes it special?
This place offered all of those things our ancestors needed to survive here. You had the sand spit here, Te Pukehiwi o Kupa, you had access to the sea, the temperature was conducive to kumara growing. If there's any place that is, deeply special to rangitani, it would be here. It's one of those places that defines who we are as a people.
We left Hawaii and came out here. We chose this place to settle. From the time that they first landed on the beach over here and lit that first fire, that flame's never gone out, and I'm quite proud of that there's such a long-standing line of ahika. When we continue to come out here, the stories that we tell are strengthened. The more you know about a place, the more of a connection that you have with it, and the more likely you are to appreciate and protect it.
Many generations ago, our East Polynesian ancestors explored the oceans of Te Moana Nui a Kiwa to arrive here on this whenua. They named this area Mohua and built power sites and settlements up and down the coast. Hundreds of years later, Waka Abel Tasman is keeping the stories of those tipuna alive.
As we paddle along the coastline, we'll stop every now and again and just share something special about the places that we're close to. And just know that as we travel along this coastline, like all of the sheltered waterways in Aotearoa, they were our highways. So if we were here 300 years ago, we would see other waka travelling up and down this coastline.
It's a good introduction to waka or waka ama.
They often have never experienced waka and, they haven't got any preconceived ideas.
From when they start our trip to the finish, there's a massive difference. And even the ahua, quite often I'm not on the water and Lee-Ann and our staff are, but I see it. You see a change. People have gone and joined clubs around Aotearoa as well, which is awesome. They don't know how to get into it, so this is a good way for them to have a taste.
So this is an old burial island. And the last tribal group to utilise this was Ngāti Apa ki te rā tō. So this is a special place for them. Now Ngāti Rārua, Te Atiawa and Ngāti Tama protect this place. Koia. Yeah, it feels really nice to have a business that supports cultural education and revitalisation here. We started for our school groups, our community groups, and it felt really important to link our kids up with our culture. We also knew tourists are travelling around Aotearoa and they want to connect with the Māori culture and often don't know how. So, ko toka ngā whā te ingoa o tēnei wāhi ātāhua. People call it split apple rock, but one of our kaupapa is to really uplift those names that connect deeper into this place. And so toka means rock, ngā whā means to split or burst. And it would have been a special place in the day, you know, when we didn't have signposts. So particular tohu in our environment were probably places that people met. So we encourage you now to use the old name.
Ko te whakapapa! Hei! 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 Ha!
Ka wai e te whānau, so just a gentle pedal forward. Hoi kia rete, hoia. Our hope is that people will feel a sense of connectedness to this environment and want to be a caretaker, but not only this environment, maybe their environments too, or maybe they'll go home and they're from other countries and they want to learn about and uplift their Indigenous cultures. Hey, awesome. Ka pai up there. So, you know, it's not just a physical experience, it's a whole lot more than that.
Te Tauihu is a whenua of special places, with its endless golden beaches to the rugged mountains that rise from the shoreline. The diversity of this landscape is breathtaking. And high up in the mountains of Nelson Lakes lies a very special taonga, Rotomairewhenua. This pristine lake, accessible via a 2-day hike into the maunga, has the clearest water ever measured.
Rotomairewhenua is fed from Rotomairewhenua, which is right over the ridge behind us. But this whole ridge line here, it's been a giant landslide that's come down and it's dammed Lake Constance or Rotomairewhenua, and all of that water from Rotomairewhenua filters through and feeds into this. So I think that adds to the clarity of the wai. So yeah, there's that hononga between the two. Yeah, amazing. The practices associated with the lake are of a tapu nature. I think when our tupuna first arrived from Hawaii, I imagine they came up here following the awa and actually seeing what's here and feeling the Māori. You know, obviously the Māori for them was that these pools had a special purpose, washing koiwi or tūpapaku, tāne in this pool, and wahine up in Lake Constance or Pōhueroa. And they would make the big hike to bring their loved ones here. Generally where I go, I like to wash my taonga. I'll just do me a wee karakia. Oh, that's lovely. Tau rangatahi te Māori tū, te whiwhanganoku tū, te whiwhangarangi tū, te whiwhanga waho. Puritia mai waho, tāwhia mai waho. Tēnei te Māori ka whakapiki, tēnei te Māori ka whakakake, te Māori o tēnei tūpuna, te Māori o tēnei āriki, te Māori kei runga, te Māori kei raro, te Māori ka aputa ki te whaiao, ki te ao mārama. Uhi wero, tau mai te Māori, haumie huie, tāe ki e, tihei, Māori ora. Obviously, this valley was used as an ara that connected us to the Wairau Pass, which took us over into Lake Tennyson, so that's more Hamner Springs way, so Canterbury, Marlborough, and then kei tērā taha you've got Potini, you've got the west coast. So these were, in a sense, our tupuna trails. The role of our whānau hapu iwi is to actually walk your maunga, utilise your roto, your awa, and be present. You know, I think it's important for our whānau to actually walk the walk, you know, of our tipuna. You know, it's a pretty special place.